Well, folks, welcome to Viva Las Vegas. Here for the Veterans for Life ARCA series. Here with Goat Locker here at Las Vegas. You see it right there. Las Vegas 1.5 miles rather. I'm thinking of Talladega and Daytona where we're going to be at next week with Nazra here. But it's going to be a good one tonight. Who's going to lock themselves in to their respectable divisions? We'll find out here later on this evening. Good evening, folks. I'm the redneck announcer, Jake Reeves, Australian Dean Hampton Biggles. Be co-commentating, producing, all that good stuff. Running a little bit late. We got a little bit of technical issues, but I think we may be able to get this bad boy in right here, Dean. We'll see how this works out. Eddie Smith, remember, folks, finished second last week in Atlanta. He's starting on the pole. Jake Ellenson to his outside. He won last week. Jamie Mullins sitting right there in third. Who is going to run for a championship next week? We're going to find out here in a very, very short time. Green flag is in the air. Eddie Smith on that inside. Jake Ellenson is up top. Mullins right behind him. Jeremiah Holt. And this man picked to win the amateur division. Called it on my podcast. Not live yet, but called it. Jeremiah Holt making a run. Eddie Smith and Jake Ellenson for the lead. And as I take a break right there for just a little bit, we got Dean back there getting a little bit of technical stuff going on, trying to make sure everything is somewhat copacetic. So we're going to kind of pull a World of Outlaws style right here, if you will. Smith up top, Ellenson down low, Holt going all the way from fourth to third. He's going to slip back there with Mullins actually in that side-by-side battle right now. He's got Michael McCarthy to his inside. And Michael McCarthy, one of those guys that's been on a wild run right here, folks. Literally all season long here with the Veterans for Life ARCA series. He's really been putting out a lot of work. He's got a lot of finishes, finished ahead of a lot of his competitors. We'll see if he's able to pull it off here this evening. He's got to run down Jeremiah Holt. Eddie Smith got that lead. This is kind of what I predicted on the podcast. It hasn't come out yet. But we'll get to it a little bit later on. You know, we'll be able to put that out a little bit later on. But that's kind of what I predicted right here. Literally, I had Eddie Smith, to win the pro division. And then I had Jeremiah Holt to win the amateur division. So we'll see how this all ends up working out. Smith up top, trying to roll right here on the bottom. Ellenson right behind him, trying to get the run, trying to get the draft. You see everybody faking, or fanning out, rather, right there behind them, trying to kind of make whatever they can make work, I guess. Try to use draft, try to shoot past one another. You see Holt back there in third. Slip back here. Got a little bit of battling going on back here. It's Chuck Pegleg Phelps with the amateur division in the 75 back here. He's battling around with Cliff Adams back here with David Calvert as well. So a lot of battles going on right here just inside the top 10. And, I mean, we're still going to stay with this battle right here, but we'll keep track, kind of give you kind of a two-way deal pretty much as I'm looking at some of the action that's going on at the back. And we got it keep it on up there at the front. Now we got the two-wide battle back here. You see Phelps on the bottom, Calvert up top, right behind him. Shasta's man, George Jewell, at 36. And Eddie Kurtz, we ain't seen him a whole lot throughout the season, but here he is up here. We saw him a little bit right there at the start, and then he just kind of went on a hiatus there for a while. We didn't see Andy Kurtz for a good while, and now Goat Locker's fixing to experience the wrath of last season's Veterans for Life ARCA Series champion. He's going to take it 3 wide right here. He's got Pegleg right in the middle. They're going to door bang! Big-time door bang with Calvert and Phelps. Big-time slide right there. That could have been disastrous for both of those drivers. Everybody keeps it straight right here. And Kurt's able to sneak by him. Probably threw off Phelps a little bit. Probably made him go, oh, where am I going? Oh, well, we got Kurtz on the inside. I got to slide up a little bit. But everybody keeps it straight, keeps it clean, and keeps it green, at least for right now, here on lap 8 of 80 here at Las Vegas.
Please don't do that again, Jacob. Whatever you just did. All right, there's anyway. I was going to say, if you just see Eddie Kurtz just scoots on by there, he says, I don't want none of that door and all that door banging that was going on there at the moment. Welcome, everybody. George Jules just a little bit around the outside here. We'll have probably some technical issues when one of your internet service providers just decides to cancel your account unnoticed and unknowing. Yeah, so I've been dealing with that all day. But the show must go on, especially here in Viva Las Vegas. I know.
Well, Dean, on my end, it's looking pretty good right now on YouTube, baby. I mean, I don't see any glitches. I don't see any crazy stuff. You out there in the live chat, let us know what it looks like. Let us know, you know.
Oh, yeah, from now, but I mean, it's probably going to drop out.
Well,
don't worry about that one.
Well, yeah, but we don't know. You don't know, Dean. I mean, you know, you said it a while ago. You've had a hell of a day. You don't know how it's going to end up working out. It may end up being a pretty good night for you right here. It all might just culminate to a fantastic race that you are seeing right here. McCarthy in the 3, trying to get around Holt. Holt may try to pinch him down. Smith trying to check out. Jake right behind him. McCarthy gets up there, battles. This is for the amateur division to win it and lock himself in the next week at Homestead, Dean.
I believe that's from last week's graphics as well, too. You see the blues next to the name. They're the pros. The red are the AM. And they're the ones that will be looking at getting themselves through. We have dropped a couple of one of each, I believe, as well, too. We have. But let's see how it pans out. I'm hearing that the Pro Division's locked in by Lucas Lyons, who's not in the race server tonight at the moment. So he's good to go. What about the rest of the field?
Well, I mean, you know, we got a lot of action, you know. We talked about it, you know, as far as the playoff grids and all that stuff. We talked about Jake Ellison winning it at Atlanta last week. As you still see this battle going on for the 3rd spot. McCarthy, Holt up here. Now McCarthy slides up. Holt's going to try to pull the crossover. Jumps down on the bottom of the racetrack, trying to make a run. Slides up. McCarthy trying to pinch him down. Holt trying to come up. Almost some more door banging right there between both of those drivers. But everybody kept it clean right there, but Holt not giving up by a long shot. He wants this one right here, big right here. Do want to mention real quick from what we were seeing right here in the broadcast chat, the Pro Division is set. According to race director Daniel Krakeel, your Pro Division is locked in. Lucas Lyons is not in the race server here this evening, as you mentioned, Dean, and Jamie Mullins retired for the season. Now, granted, he is out here in the race, but, you know, he might have just backed out and let the other two jump in there. So Eddie Smith, he's going to run for a championship. You got other drivers up here as well that's going to be running for a championship. I believe Chance Taylor, one of those drivers, he's up there. He's going to be one of them that will be running for a championship as well. So that's going to be interesting. This is amateur division. It's going to be very, very interesting. And if we go back, because I had the graphic up, Dean, and then you kind of threw me off there. Here we go. Get the graphic up now. Here's the graphic that we're looking at right here. You got Rusty Rafferty. Well, he won the amateur division last week at Atlanta. So he's it. Ain't nothing to worry about on that one. It's Tyler Justice, Michael McCarthy, James Kaufman, Jeremiah Holt, and Chuck Phelps. These guys are racing for that second lock-in spot, if you will. So one of them will get locked into that championship for that amateur division. It's going to be between the other two, how the points stack up right now. Currently, McCarthy is in position to get it done. Holt must have slipped a little bit. He slipped back to the 6th spot. McCarthy up here racing with the top dogs here for the Veterans for Life ARCA Series.
Thank you for that. Jacob, as we're getting our way in there, Eddie Smith in the lead there has been chased down by Dougie for some time. And, of course, you said McCarthy is just love. He's actually started to catch him there in the Buckies now. So he wants to get up the front there and play with the pro boys and say, all right, I'm coming. And he certainly has been all season long, hasn't he, Jacob?
Yeah, I mean, he absolutely has. You know, we've already watched McCarthy. If you look back, honestly, you know, at how the standings was, you know, when they rocked and rolled and they got everything locked up. I mean, I'm looking back right here. At one point, you look at the amateur division and McCarthy, he had 3 wins. Now, that's not necessarily winning the race. That is wins as far as beating all the other amateur division drivers. And McCarthy had 3 of those. Had more than any of the pro division drivers. So this guy up here, literally in that amateur division, probably, Dean, he probably could have said, honestly, he probably could have actually went to the pro division and probably been just as good over there with the likes of Jake Ellison and Chance Taylor and Eddie Smith and all those guys. So, you know, that's kind of one of those things right there, you know, but, I mean, it is what it is. Goat Locker officials decided to put him in that amateur division, and honestly, McCarthy is the one to beat right now. Rafferty could be one of them that could really give him a run for his money next week at Homestead.
There you have it there, Jacob. Thank you very much. So, obviously, for tonight, we're going to be doing 80 big ones. We're about 20% of the way through this. Fuel is 60% with 4 sets of tyres, 1 fast repair and 2 green-white checkers. Daniel on race control with Jake, who's driving at the moment. He does 2 things. He drives and does race control if required. But he can get the driver's perspective of what's going on, of course, while Daniel will be watching this from the control booth as well. But when do you think 60% fuel that they're going to jump on down there for some pit stops there, Jacob?
Yeah, that's going to be a good one right there. Honestly, Dean, you know, good call on that one right there as far as, you know, the fuel and everything else. You know, you were talking about 60% fuel. That's kind of different from what Goat Locker usually does. Usually they just go ahead and say, you know what, screw it. We're going to go 100%, make it all the way to the end if you so choose. What I'm looking at right now from what I've said and kind of giving an idea right here, race is 80 laps. They're looking at 60, give or take. Now, go lower than that. We'll say 55. That would be more the area. Some may go at 50. Here's the thing. It's not going to go away from the fact if they stay green all the way to the end, Dean, you know, if it just literally goes green all the way, no doubt in my mind you're going to see guys go at 40. You may see some go at 33 like we've seen in the past. You know, guys try to split it up, you know, in thirds or in seconds. Or if you get a pit, your best option, I mean, you know, your fuel run's going to be at lap 50. Here's the thing. This track, Dean, it wears tires out. We were talking about the same exact thing for the Blanchard's Towing Xfinity Series this past Tuesday night when the Xfinity cars were at Texas. That track will wear the tires out. This place right here would definitely wear them out. And this track's actually went through a reconfiguration. I mean, you go back to like 2001, 2002, somewhere in that range. Corners wasn't banked up this much. They were actually flatter. So, you know, that's going to be the thing out of all this right here. Brandon Wallace saying 35 laps out there. Brandon, you must be really moving out there, because from what my graphics are showing, from what I was seeing a while ago, at least on my end, is that, you know, unless I missed something, and now I'm seeing 58, so he may be going in giving his strategy here, Dave, a little bit, but I would say, you know, between 50, 55 laps on that fuel run, but I wouldn't be surprised to see guys go in at the halfway mark.
At the halfway mark, so you're saying 40, lap 40, they're going to go back in there and get 4 freshies. All right, and a splash of DAS. All right, well, that's the predictions out there. Thank you very much. Bit of battle happening. We don't have the driver's cameras because I don't want to be pushing it for a bit, risking it for the biscuit with the internet. Probably going to hopefully hang in there at the moment, but usually we'd like to see the likes of George Jewell there. Of course, Jake would be throwing his handsome face up there on the cameras, as long as there's other drivers as well too, but we won't have that. But next week, of course, for the finale, let's hopefully get all one that happening. Get your handsome face up there as well too there, Jacob, as well. Get your commentators cam. No, I don't think anybody's interested in that. Well, it has been asked for.
It has?
Yes, it has. And Wesley as well, they wanted.
Wow. That's got me right there, Dean. I ain't even gonna lie, buddy, because I didn't even know that we could do that. I didn't even know that, you know, people wanted maybe a commentator's coach. Well, yeah, I mean, what, the whole race? They want us for the whole race?
No, I guess when you're talking during cautions or something like that.
Well, I mean, what I was getting at, though, is if they want it completely for the full time and everything, what if we don't get back from a bathroom break, you know, if there's a caution? And you're just sitting here, you're looking at a microphone and an empty chair.
There's an AI, yeah. It just throws off a little AI generated graphic or something. No, I got to turn it on and off. It doesn't stay up the whole time. I'm a producer, my friend. I click the buttons.
Well, I'll tell you what, if Goat Locker wants to keep us around next season, then that sounds like might be a good idea, Dean. Might try to throw that in there for
Whoa, who's got a pit road? Tyler
folks.
Justice.
Try to go right here. It is Tyler Justice. And it's right about that time, Dean. So
no, it's not.
Apparently, 27. You know, and
you
Wallace
said halfway through.
35.
We've still got another 10 laps, 12 laps.
Wallace may be thinking differently off this right here. Look, I looked at my stuff. I was off, apparently, according to Brandon Wallace right here. But, you know, from what he's saying, 35. So, you know, give or take between 32 and 36 laps. I mean, that might be what you're looking at right here. But I must have had some misinterpreted information here.
Yep. There are other drivers are coming in. George Jewell, Rusty Rafferty. Apologise, I don't have a good pit lane camera as well too. So it's because of the updates of wonderful world of iRacing, it also has updated a lot of cameras and cars and stuff like that. So it just means we're going to do a lot more work in the broadcasting booth to fix all that. That's fine. It's all a part of the updates. But I'm excited about those updates, of course, of putting the if everybody's new to what's happening. Apparently, all the gunk, you know, all the come off the track, hit the kitty litter, put all the dirt all over there, some misused rubber, some wreck parts, some marbles, all that stuff will be affecting the drivers now, Jacob.
Yeah, very good possibility. As you see right there, Rusty Rafferty and the 00 going down. So, yeah, apparently, and folks, if you really want to see the picture, I just posted it in our Discord chat right here of what my sim was showing. Apparently, my sim is way off, and I mean way off. By a long shot right here, because I was seeing between 50 and 55. This is going to get interesting right here. We'll see it out there. Tyler Justice. They said he went down some laps. Now he only really went down one lap, Justin. He just pitted right now because we are in the middle of a green flag pit cycle right now, which, like I said, I'm kind of shocked that it happened. Like I said, that just kind of threw me for a loop, Dean, because usually I go by my sim and kind of rough estimate it, you know, from what I see, but apparently the sim don't like me too much. I guess that update that we had earlier on this week, I think it's screwing with me a little bit, Dean.
Possibly. But we have to see if anybody will stretch it to 40. That's halfway through the race, as David's heading in at the moment from his scheduled, well, roughly scheduled pit stop. It just depends. I can't imagine these two running at the front absolutely flat out doing 30s, 34s. The rest of the field has been doing about 38s, 30.8. These guys are doing 30.4s. Can still have enough to keep going. And guess what, Jacob? They're passing the pit lane entrance again. No, this time around it might be... No, that's because he's taken the dog leg. That's Eddie Smith, followed by Jake Ellingson.
Well, I'll tell you this much. If they make it all the way to lap 40, then I can literally look at every single one of you and say, I told you so.
Told you so.
But there's no guarantees on that. But I don't know. We'll see what happens right there. We're hearing, you know, maybe there's just a little bit of a glitch, maybe a little something in my system. Maybe got to get that updated. We'll see how it works out. Smith coming off of turn number 4. Ellenson right there, right behind him. They're getting right here smack dab in the middle of this bad boy. McCarthy's already made that pit stop. Jeremiah Holt, he's going down pit road right now. As of right now. We got a slider behind him. Who was that? Was that Ricky Sish Jr.? No, it was not. Well, look, get you an idea of exactly who it was. It might have been John Hutchin in the 32. I believe that's right there who you're seeing right there. 44, timing and scoring, but 92 rather.
Here they come.
On the screen
Jacob,
right here.
They couldn't quite make it. Make it stick there, Jake.
Woo!
Top two. Jeremiah Holt, Ricky Sisk as well, too. They came into pit, so they had to come in eventually. They stretched it to lap 30, well, give or take, let's say 35, right, because they just crossed the line, Jacob. So, yeah, it's about halfway between what people predicted and what you said. We can go 50-50 on that.
You know what? We'll take that. That's a happy medium for everybody. Yeah. And, hey, if everybody wins, we'll take it. Everybody's happy, we'll take it. We'll let it rock and roll and see what happens with that. Good to see you, some of y'all chiming up out there in the live chat, talking about the update and everything else. You know, some, you know, are saying, you know, got to stay out of the high side, which is very different from what we used to see. Did you see this battle coming off of pit road right here for the lead, Dean? is different because, we used to, some of us drivers, we used to run that top side and try to get runs and everything else. But from what we're hearing, you get super tight up there, up on that top side. It's just a lot of crazy things that this update is kind of threw at us drivers. And, real quick, I throw that live chat. If you are an iRacer, what's your opinion on some of these updates that iRacing throws out there? Is it good for the, is it good for the sim? Is it bad for the sim with all the changing and everything? Because I say this, Dean, me as a driver on the Wednesday night NASRA Cup Series, it really changes how I drive. I really don't know what to expect when I go to each and every race, especially right after updates, because you don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I think like with any new updates that they implement, I'm not sure if they are, because I don't create race sessions and stuff like that. Well, I do with AI just for testing. But to delay the option of specifically using some of those new updates or not, so you just untick a box and say, I'm not happy to use it just yet, because maybe in a league, people aren't all completely adjusted to it. People haven't had enough time to get some practice in. And then, of course, have the option so that you can go, yeah, bring it on, give us all the latest goodies, and then go for it. And then that way, if you can get your practice in, then I hope you got your practice in, Jacob, because marbles would be like driving on ice, things like that. And of course, if the dust is kicked up, not so much you have to worry about that because that's more road courses. Of course, I think this really affects road courses a lot more than ovals. But it's changes, and changes when you're flying around 150 miles per hour around corners and the tires are already starting to go off a cliff, and then you add another element to it. Well, certainly will be tricky. I think you'll start to see people make mistakes more than they have before. Just like last night, actually, Jacob, for the race. We had a few people spinning on turn 3. We heard from you, remember, in the booth, and you said that it gets quite tricky, I think, at turn 4 or something like that. Just to confirm.
Don't even get me started on some of that happened last night for the NASRA Cup Series. Obviously, I race in that now on Wednesdays. Just finished up my final season with the DSR Electric Truck Series, and we'll talk. We'll just leave that for the door banging download. That episode will come out later on this evening. There's a second episode. Tristan Bruce, who won the Concerns of Police Survivors Truck Series race at Richmond, and that chaotic finish that we saw, Dean, when the front 3 guys wrecked coming off of turn 4. It's like a Denny Hamlin, Austin Dillon, Joey Logano kind of deal. In fourth place, actually, fourth place was the one that actually succeeded, and it was Tristan Bruce. We're going to have him on the show later on the night. We'll get all that recorded and everything, but, it is what it is on that, but, that's one of those things, when you drive in some of these cars. And one thing about this right here is these ARCA cars right here, Dean, they're the same body as a Gen 4 car that we race on the Wednesday night series. The only difference is the horsepower is jacked through the roof. So it's the same body, same aero that we're seeing right here with the ARCA, or the Veterans for Life ARCA series. It's just there's more power in those Gen 4s. So it doesn't really matter what you're going to drive here. You're going to burn your tires up here at Vegas. But like I said, you want to hear about the Richmond race? Go listen to Door Banging Download. There's plenty to talk about with that race.
Yeah, exactly, Jacob. Of course, short track racing equals a few cautions as to be expected. And beef, exactly. When they go racing, Jacob gets the barbecue fired up because he knows he's going to be throwing some beef on it. There will be some beef. Chance Taylor's having not so much beef there with Michael, the number 3 machine, but certainly having some fun. And Eddie Kurt's right behind them, getting a bird's eye view of that battle.
Yep, and we just had a change for the lead as Eddie Smith just shot around Tyler Justice. Tyler Justice right now leading the amateur drivers right now. Tyler up here sitting in second. The next closest one is Michael McCarthy back here. He's got Eddie Kurtz right behind him. Now Tyler Justice is going to slide up the racetrack. Here comes Jake Ellingson down to the inside. Kurtz trying to look back here. I'm looking back here with the McCarthy and the Kurtz kind of deal. Kurtz almost ended up trying to dive it down to the inside of McCarthy. Damn near almost cleaned him out. They're going to try to get around Timothy Wilms. Wilms up top. McCarthy down low. Here comes Kurtz. Kurtz very much faster right here. Right up on the back bumper of the number 3 of Old Bucky's. He better get that beaver rocking and rolling, son. Here comes Eddie Kurtz, last season's champ.
Here we go, Jacob. Hey, getting excited. I like it. Why not? A bit of door banging. We're just over halfway, 40 of 80. Now, remember, some of these drivers, Jacob, split strategy. Some of them have been down on lap 27. Some went down on lap 32. Some went lap down 34. So, come to the end of this race, you can have a little bit more grip in those tyres. Might make a huge difference. But that's for the like of Eddie Smith and Jake Ellingson. They're the only ones that have to worry about that. This midfield here, once again, that's the ones that got a little bit of a tyre difference.
Yeah, this is going to get good right here. As actually Kurtz has actually took the option to take it up to the top. Wallace trying to slide around. They're going to look 3 wide coming off 4. Kurtz up top. McCarthy down on the inside. They're going to end up eventually, possibly running down George Jewell right here. But Kurtz is trying to find every little bit of real estate. If McCarthy wants the bottom, Kurtz is going to try to take the top and try to get the run. He's going to get that run. But is he going to get clear of McCarthy? And Dean, he's got to be wearing them tires out right now, just straight up wearing them suckers out, trying to get around McCarthy. And McCarthy just won't let him go. But, hey, it's not McCarthy's job to let him go. He's trying to run down Tyler Justice and lock himself into Homestead next week.
Yeah, exactly. I'm thinking his fight is with the man that's got the red next to behind their name in the background, because that's the AM class drivers. You can see the ones that don't have anything next to the name behind. They're the ones that aren't. They're just in this race for fun. They're here to help their teammates and stuff like that, but they're not in the playoff contentions. And this is where Michael needs to be thinking forward and not to over-calculate or overcomplicate things too much. Just choose your battles, fight your, win the wars that you can win currently at the moment on track, and then see how it pans out later.
Yeah, I mean, he's only really got 3, now 2 drivers to really get around Tyler Justice up there in that 4th position right now. McCarthy just got up into the 6th spot. You see Eddie Kurtz right there in front of him. And I say 2 drivers that he's got to get around, because he's actually got to get around Tyler Justice as well, that you see right there in the 4th spot, riding right behind Jamie Mullins. Now McCarthy, you see him back there in the Bucky's car trying to take a peek down to that inside. He ain't worried about that. He is not worried about what Eddie Kurtz is going to do. He's worried about trying to get up there with Tyler Justice and try to have a shot to try to get around him and get into that championship 4. Now, granted, we talked about it. 3 wins. He's been the dominant car with the amateur division. So you would think he would have enough points to just go ahead and lock himself in. But, you know, with the way these rounds is, Dean, these points, they tighten up really tight. And there's only 2 races in these rounds, so you ain't right. I mean, you really ain't got a whole lot of room for error.
No. This is a crucial part of any championship when it comes down to the last couple of races. That you've got to just be perfect. You've got to be on your game. Can't afford any more slip-ups anymore. It's like, you know, you're at home and your parents are watching, so you've got to be good, or your teachers are watching. Hello, Jonathan. We have celebrity guests out there. Jonathan Caulfield, of course, has been man on a rampage of late too, getting some wins, getting some podiums. So good to see us joining us there, Mr. Caulfield. Of course, all the usual suspects out there. I haven't had said hello to Ray or Chasty yet too, so I do apologise about that. But I wonder what Ray's up to this evening. Is she doing any knitting or watching football or something like that? Of course, she's supporting Jake out there, and Dougie's still in the race, my friend. Dougie is doing a good job there. He's solid, P19. And more importantly, you know, Doug's just having a quiet race, and that's good. That's good. I want to be in the spotlight all the time. That means that there's something happening.
I'll tell you what, right here, we got the spotlight right here, smack dab on the middle of these 3 drivers right here. You got Tyler Justice up on the top side, Andy Kurtz now to the bottom, give or take middle, riding that first seam, Dean. You can ride that seam, you know, and I've talked about it on previous broadcasts, to be able to ride that seam, you can actually get the back end to kind of rotate a little bit, get that car to turn. So that's what Kurtz is trying to do right here. But the big battle is behind him. As now Tyler Justice has slid up the hill. McCarthy to the inside. A shot to race at Homestead next week. We talked about the the pro drivers for their championship 4. That amateur division, Dean, it's still wide open. We got a shot right here, and Tyler Justice is going to try to do everything he can to make sure that he can make it to Homestead next week and run for a championship in that amateur division.
Oh, yeah. Michael caught him and got the job done past, and so that's the big one for that. Of course, the rest of the field, Eddie Smith and Jake Ellington, they've just been cruising it together, matched evenly on pace. That'll be interesting to see how that's going to pan out a little bit later on, 27 laps to go. They're 5 seconds up the road there from the rest of the field here, which is, just you can see in your pictures there, Andy Kurtz and Jamie Mullins.
We'll see how that all ends up working out, folks. If you have just joined us, where have you been for the past 38 minutes? Well, yeah, obviously, we kind of had a little bit of a technical issues, but everything's been fine so far. You see it right there on the left side. Obviously, the DSR Electric Truck Series just got finished up. Colin Weatherholt ended up winning that championship as we're seeing other drivers go down. Timothy Williams right there, I believe, in that 86. But Blanchard's Toyota Xfinity Series is going to be a good one. They're fixing to finish up their regular season for the Blanchard Toyota Xfinity Series. Will be at Daytona next Tuesday. Next Wednesday, yours truly, Redneck Announcer, will be racing in the NASRA Cup Series. That's going to be a good one. We get door banging back there, McCarthy. Back there, you see it. McCarthy and Kurtz, they had thrown each other off on when they was going to go into the pits right there, Dean. And McCarthy must have not keyed up and told Kurtz what was up. And that got crazy right there. They were door banging one another, trying to make sure that they could get into the pits.
Jacob, you don't
wild.
share anything with your enemies that are on the track there and say, I'm coming into pits. They don't do that in real life. They don't tell the other teams, I'm coming into pits. You just come into pits, mate. I'm coming one way or another. I'm going through you or not, but I'm heading down there. That's just up to reading other people's minds. Of course, they do it. This is a polite leader as well, too. This is a league for growing drivers, having a chance to grow their strengths with a more experienced driver. So, of course, they would be more polite to do that. But as you said, a little bit of door banging going in the pit later. Let's see when Jake heads down, because he's doing we've got Eddie Smith doing the undercut now. So let's see if Jake's putting on some laps. We'll keep an eye on those laps too there, Jacob. What he's doing in those times. 32 flats. All right, that's not bad at all. Let's see what happens when Eddie Smith comes out, of course, and who is out. And he's here out in a bit of traffic too. So that may help Jake.
Absolutely. And, one of those things, that we usually say as rednecks would say, figured it out yourself is basically what McCarthy was more or less saying right there for Eddie Kurtz. But back to some of the schedule right there. We talked about it Wednesday for the NASRA Cup Series will be at Talladega. All those series, DSR, obviously is over with. We'll get back to that after the Christmas, New Year's break. Blanchard's Toyota Xfinity Series, I believe we're taking a 2-week off for that one. NASRA Cup Series, I think that one's taking a 2-week off. Goat Locker, which is why each and every one of you is here tonight, getting ready for a championship race at Homestead next week. And then, Concerns of Police Survivors, where it all started here for the NASRA organization. We're going road racing next week. Dean, I'm actually, or tomorrow night is what I meant to say. Dean, I'm actually kind of fired up for this one right here, because this is going to get interesting right here with the Chicago street course with trucks. We've seen it with Xfinity cars. We've seen it with next-gen cars. We ain't never seen it with trucks. And obviously the whole beef with Holden McGill and MDW. I'm sure there's beef there from that chaos that happened last week. That'll be interesting to see at the Chicago street course. So hopefully each and every one of you and yours will tune in tomorrow night and see what happens and see what beef. It's what's for dinner. See how it all plays out.
Definitely tune in for that one. That's going to be fun, of course, especially because it's a road course as well. And on top of that road course, remember, with those marbles and all that sort of stuff, that's going to be even more interesting, Jacob. Drivers aren't used to driving on the Chicago street course, and they're not used to these new updates as well, too. Not everybody is. So that's going to be super interesting. Now, we had Jake come in. Rusty stayed out, still in the lead, but he's definitely going to come back in with 20 to go. Jake's got to get out of this pit box as quickly as possible. There he is onto the loud pedal, and it comes out. Where is he going to come out? Eddie Smith coming around now. Eddie Smith's got him, I believe, there, Jacob, by a country mile. There's Jake Ellingson just coming out of pit road right now. Eddie Smith's just zoomed on by. Now, they went in. Remember the last time they went to the pit stop, they came in line astern, and they've been running line astern. I think the overcut hasn't paid off there for Jake Ellingson.
No, I mean, it hasn't. I mean, and Dean, if you could pull up, kind of give or take, what the lap difference is between Eddie Smith and Jake Ellingson. I'm going to assume it's give or take about 5 laps. Give or take. Now, those fresh tires is going to pay off right here at the start, which is exactly what happened with Eddie right there. He undercutted Jake. Jake tried to stay out, tried to pull some kind of strategy, and it just did not work out for him. Now, what's going to end up maybe helping Jake, we'll see how it works, but run it long right here. He wants this sucker to go green right here. That's what Jake's wanting. He's trying something different to try to maybe get him on the back end is what he's trying to do, because what Eddie's been doing, Eddie's been lighting it up. As you see Rusty Rafferty, who is already locked in to Homestead next week to run for a championship. He's locked in. He ain't got nothing to worry about. What Jake's wanting is it to go green, because Eddie's out there, like I said, been lighting it up, putting down fast lap times, but he's been burning his tires. Jake, he's on fresh tires. You just saw him shoot right around Eddie Kurtz. Didn't even think twice about it. Problem is, he's 6 seconds back. So he's got to have a drive ahead of him, or 5.5, however you want to look at it, at the line. So Jake's got a drive ahead of him right here. But he's got time, Dave. 17 to go. He's got time to catch Eddie right here. We'll see if the tire wear and everything plays out for him.
I think you're right. It's the time, isn't it? It's the time. As long as the, green flag racing as well. Yeah, exactly. You don't want it to go to a caution. Eddie doesn't want to go to a caution because it's going to just take away that lead that he has currently at the moment. I'll show you that lead. There it is. So it's a 4.88 second lead, but let's look at those times between them. There you go. Jake is clearly faster. Look at that. By 0.2 to 0.3 a lap. So he can keep that pace up. He will have enough time with 16 laps to go to be on the back there of Eddie Smith. But one thing to catch, another thing to overtake, as you're aware.
Yeah, I mean, and that's going to be interesting. But the thing about it is that Jake out here, obviously very much faster. He was 5 seconds back that time. Now he's 4.4, so actually 0.6. So Jake actually starting to pick up the pace right here a little bit from that last lap. But this is what's going to be good, is we're actually seeing this battle right here. We'll talk about the Eddie Smith-Ellenson battle here in a minute. This is going to be the one right here. Who is going to race for a championship and lock himself at a Homestead? Tyler Justice don't even know if he's going to actually stick around to the end of this damn thing, because he keeps blanking out. But he joined, so he's right back. McCarthy to the inside. We'll keep you updated with the Jake Ellenson Eddie Smith deal. But this is the one we're going to watch for, because the pro drivers, Dean, it doesn't matter how that all ends up working out. All four of them, they're locked in. This is the battle we're really going to have to watch between McCarthy and Tyler Justice to see how this amateur division works out.
Yeah, absolutely crucial between these two drivers. G'day, Jeff Merck's out there. Hello, Merck. Good to see you. The great Dean Pickles. Thank you. Not that great. That's the great
Pokey.
Jacob. Jacob's great. He's the one carrying us up here in the booth. I'm just putting the cameras. George Jules also hanging a little bit back here at the moment with Timothy Wilms. He's going for a 2 for now. That's the 86 and the 36. I guarantee you between one of these two cars, something with a 6 is going to be ahead of the other one soon there, Jacob.
Yeah, I mean, and there's no telling, because Dean, I mean, we still got time. I mean, there's 12 to go. Eddie Smith just took the line. Jake Ellenson is running him down by literally, like you said a while ago, a country mile. Passing him's one thing, or catching him's one thing, passing him is another. See how that works out. But this battle for the 4th spot between Tyler Justice, Mike McCarthy, it is far from over. As you see right now, the 98 back here battling with Chuck Felch right now. That's Cliff Adams, and both of them in the amateur division. Felch is able to shoot around him. So Ellenson's going to catch Smith. We already got that figured out. I mean, according to times and everything, that was 0.4 faster again. Ellenson will catch Smith. I mean, both of those guys, they're racing for a championship next week for that amateur, or for the pro division, rather. See, then you get two different divisions. It screws you up every now and then. But Tyler Justice right here still trying to hold off Michael McCarthy, who has been very strong. We talked about it. Tyler Justice was at Atlanta last week. Home track for him. Wasn't able to get it done. He may have actually rolled a 12 right here, or even Snake Eyes right here, Dean. He may end up tripling up and taking himself to Homestead to run for a championship next week. That would be awesome to see for Tyler Justice.
Absolutely. Tyler Justice right here, as you saw, to Michael just behind him. They got a little bit of traffic coming. That's actually Andy Kurtz, not traffic on track. Well, it's not that difficult. Pro and AM, I'm so used to it there, Jacob, because a lot of the European leagues have Pro AM class as well too. And amateur divisions. Like I've seen a league that I used to broadcast for has about 6 different classes. That's when it gets a bit tricky for you, mate. But then again, they've also got sometimes different classes of cars out there
How
too.
many?
So 6 different
How
classes.
many?
Yeah.
Really?
But they also did different car classes as well too. So you've got slower cars and faster cars and all that. So just make it even more interesting and a little bit more complicated too. But you don't have to worry about that here. It's just Pro and AM. And there's 2 pros leading this race, and then you go back to 4th and 5th for the leading AM drivers.
Boy, I got to tell you, that's got to be a damn shame when you drive into a corner and you already got somebody that you know slower and is in a slower car than you, not the same car that you're driving, and you're battling for your division win, and then all of a sudden it's a guy that he can just sit there and make up an excuse. Hey, look, I'm too slow. Yeah. Well, I'm in a different car. I mean, what am I going to do about it? Well, pick a different damn car. I mean, that's what you got to do to figure that out. You ain't even got to worry about it anymore. I'm warming up for the Beer Buddies segment later on, folks. Anyway, Timothy Williams right there. You see him. He's back here running around a little bit with George Jewell back here. As you see the 36 back here as well. A little battle going on amongst these guys. Going to come back to this battle. It's actually Ellenson has actually called Eddie Smith, but he hadn't actually got around him yet. But we'll stay with this battle as long as we possibly can until we get a lead change, as McCarthy has got a run. He has got it to the inside of Tyler Justice. Is Justice going to blow it here at Vegas? It looks like it. McCarthy sends it. This is going to get good. Both of them in the wall, Dean.
You called it, Jacob. You knew this is heating up right here between these two, and that's beef. I'm telling you, that's beef for sure.
That is beef.
Yep. And here comes maybe more beef at the moment. Look at this. Jake's on the tailpipe. Clearly a quicker car right now. Can Eddie hold off with 6 to go?
Yeah, that is beef right there by a long shot. We'll see if Eddie Smith can hold off Jake Ellenson right here. Looks like he's not going to be able to do it. I mean, he literally ran him down, Dean, for 5 seconds.
Door him!
So,
Door him!
We'll see what. No, I don't know. They turned him. I thought for a second.
Him.
Hey, we've already seen guys throw each other in the fence. I wouldn't be surprised to see somebody get hooked at this point.
This is NASCAR style, Jim. This is how you do it in NASCAR. Every time I turn on the TV and say NASCAR, you got to door them. You got to turn them. That's the only way to win races. Of course, no, I don't recommend that. But come on. Jake won't do that either. Jake is a well-respected driver. And he's not going to turn Eddie Smith around to get a race win here. He has to do it on the track and legitimately.
Attaboy, Dean. Promote bad driving. That's how you do it right there. To promote bad driving on the NASCAR 360 Race Network. Don't do that. By all means, folks, do not do that. But, Jake,
wait till you get me out there.
We will... I tell you what, Jeff Merck's out there in the chat. Jeff, try to line up some kind of sponsorship. Get Dean lined up and get him a rig. That way he can race just one night. That's all we want.
No,
just
I'll do it
one
on
night.
controller.
Here we go. Here we go. Jake Ellenson to the inside. Yeah, you can do that. Jake Ellenson to the inside. Contact. Oh, boy. They door banked right there big going into turn 1. Ellenson. Smith tried to jump down, kind of put a little bit of move on him right there. They're trying to take away all the McCarthy.
This is why I'm trying to get my other internet turned on. I think we might be back at the moment, Jacob. I did tell you, I did pre-warn everybody in advance that we might have some problems. Hopefully it'll hang itself dry for 2 to go, Jacob. Here we are, side by side.
We'll see what happens right here. We're seeing it a little bit out there in the live chat. Some of you kind of upset, but we got it back live. White flag in the air. Ellison to the inside. Smith is up top. Kurt 6 seconds back, just praying for, literally on a prayer, living on a prayer, is Eddie Kurtz sitting in that 3rd spot. Ellison, he's got one more shot. We'll see if he can pull it off going into turn 3. Smith works it kind of middle, kind of goes back down to the bottom. Son, that might be all she wrote right there. I don't think Ellison's going to be able to get to him. Eddie Smith, in a photo finish from last week, he's going to get redemption over Jake Ellison here tonight. Eddie Smith wins at Vegas. Ellison comes home 2nd. Kurtz comes home 3rd. And very controversial, Michael McCarthy is your amateur division winner. We'll have to stick around and kind of see what happens. If Tyler Justice ends up trying to catch up, we may get some beef right here, Dean. But Eddie Smith drifted his way through 3 and 4. He has locked himself in if he wasn't already locked in to the playoffs next week at Homestead.
Hey, Eddie, drifting's only locked into drivers in NASCAR from New Zealand, my friend. Sorry, last I checked, you're not from New Zealand, Eddie, so you're not allowed to do drifting. Ooh, I'm going to get in trouble for that, aren't I? I'm going to get in trouble for a lot of things. Thankfully, the internet just managed to come itself back up. I know it's hanging on a needles thread. It's a backup internet, while the main one's all pearl-shaped. But Eddie Smith's not pearl-shaped. He got the job done. Jake gave it everything he can. Flip a reverse of last week there, Jacob. Ooh, hey, that won't buff out. You might need to get some fresh Tide to wash that out.
No, that car won't pass tech now. That car's over with. Yeah, he's done. He's done. Yeah, that right there. Yeah, it definitely ain't gonna pass tech now. Just throw the whole right front into the wall. But you can tell, in all seriousness, Dean, you can tell that Eddie Smith is excited because he's gonna have a shot to try to run for a championship. Folks, remember a couple of seasons ago, Eddie Smith, one of those drivers, trying to run for literally the Veterans for Life ARCA Series Championship. He's one of those guys trying to run for it. It didn't play out for him. So Eddie Smith has a shot to try to get back into this bad boy. You see your results all the way down to the line right there. Eddie Smith gets the win. Ellison's second. Eddie Kurtz gets third. Didn't even qualify. Big night for Eddie Kurtz. Come back here this evening, comes home third, and check it out right there. You got both of the division winners kind of doing a little bit of a burnout right there. And from the pole, the Jam Purdy Promotions Pole Award winner, Eddie Smith, right there with a little bit of bumper banging or nose banging or however you want to look at it. Kurtz gets third, Jamie Mullins fourth, Michael McCarthy, controversy to say the least. Light it up out there on the live chat. What you think? Was it a good move, bad move? Did he clear himself? We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it here in a little bit, but we want to get your take as well. But Michael McCarthy wins that amateur division. He will race for a championship next week. Chance Taylor, George Jewell, they're going to be 6th and 7th. Timothy Williams will finish 8th. Brandon Wallace will finish 9th. And Tyler Justice, what could have been for that number 33, he will end up finishing 10th here this evening. My pick, Jeremiah Holt, let me down. Jeremiah, come on, baby. Well, it is what it is, but he'll end up finishing 11th. Old Marine Man, Chuck Pegleg Phelps, will end up finishing 12th. David Calvert will finish 13th. Rusty Rafferty, he ain't got nothing to worry about. He's going to Homestead next week anyway, but he will finish 14th here this evening. Cliff Adams, last driver to finish on the lead lap. Rest of these drivers one lap down or more. Matt Knights, Ricky Sish Jr., John Hutchin, Doug Ellenson, and Joshua Unger, the 20-car field here this evening. Folks, don't go anywhere. We got to pay some bills. We even threw an ad in there. You literally watched 80 laps of green flag racing here with Goat Locker. That is how you do it. We'll be right back with your podium finishers. Don't go anywhere. You've been watching the Veterans Life ARCA Series live here on the Nashville 360 Racing Network. Folks, we're back here at Viva Las Vegas. Got your podium finishers up here. First, second, and third, and your amateur division winner. We'll start it off with my pick. Talked about it on the door banging download. It ain't live yet, but I had Eddie Smith win the pro division race here tonight at Vegas. Eddie, congratulations on sweet redemption over Jake Ellison. Tell us about your race.
I got his ass tonight. I got his ass tonight. I got him. How about that? That was fun, huh? Green flag all the way. You can't beat that.
No, you absolutely can't, Eddie. I mean, we saw, from as far as, from race control, Daniel Kukil saying that the top 4 drivers was already locked in. So it was you, Jake, I believe I had it a second ago, but you 4, y'all are locked in. Lucas Lyons was not here this evening, so he pretty much forfeited his spot, and we heard that Jamie Mullins actually called it a season. That's what we heard from race control. So you run for a championship. You got to go up against Jake. He's kind of your nemesis that you've been having to deal with. You more or less called it the way that you called it. What's it going to take next week to get it done at Homestead against Jake? I know you don't want to give away a lot of secrets, but your take.
I want to talk about this race. I want to talk about how this all played out. I don't want to talk about next week. I'm here to race for trophies, and I'm going to enjoy this one because it was a fun one. I felt like I was playing chess with Jake there for a while. It was a tire-saving type deal. We had 2 stops, and it was going to be interesting to see how it all played out. I knew it right away, and I wanted to run long the first one, run short the second one, and see how it played out. Since we were locked in, I knew we were going to the Final Four. I was like, I'm going for the win. I don't want him to get out front. So I ran long the first time, able to stay out ahead of him, and then there at the end, how exciting was that? Running my ass down, and I was playing a game of how hard is Jake Ellingson racing right now. And when he got to me, I was a little surprised because he had a little extra that I didn't expect, and I knew the high line was good. I'm sure Jake knew that too, and we just weren't using it all race just because of tire wear. And so I knew that once he got to me, I was watching the times. He started to get closer and closer to mine, and I said, I think I can hold him off, and that's exactly what happened. So it was how much fun is that to be racing with Jake to the end of 2 races in a row?
Yeah, that's a pretty big deal right there, to see that. And thank you for not trying to give away your strategy for next week, Eddie. I was trying to see if I could get something going on because obviously Jake's in here. But Eddie Smith gets it done. 1-2 here tonight. It was 1-2 the other way last week. It's going to be a blast to see what happens next week at Homestead. Eddie Smith gets the win. Eddie, before we let you go, thank your sponsors and shout-outs for getting you here tonight and getting a win here tonight at Homestead.
Invets. Hidden Wit Brewery, Lincoln Tech, Cruising Classics, Nasty's Restaurant and Bar, Veterans for Life Foundation, Veterans for Life Racing, Invets, Jam Printing Promotions, McConey Setup Shop, V-Speed, Nazareth 360, Indiana Department of Veteran Affairs, Alexander PC, Sim Motion, Invets, Next Level Racing, iRacing, Invets, Above the Yellow Line, and then I mentioned Invets. God, we can't imagine how much we appreciate Invets out there. So appreciate Invets. Invets did a lot for me tonight, and Invets is the reason why I'm in Victory Lane. And just want to thank one more time before I go. This is just me being serious, not joking around anymore. I do want to have a special thank you. I know we're trying to run short, but I wanted to kind of bring it down and be honest and just say that I want to thank Invets.
Take a shot every time you hear Invets. That would be an awesome deal right there.
Take
but
a
I'll
sip,
say
yeah.
this, none of you would make it. No, shot. Shot of whiskey, Dean. Wow. Yeah, shot of whiskey. Take a shot of whiskey every time you hear Invets. Out of that whole ending right there. Eddie Smith, you have just straight up trashed the whole audience. Thank you very much for your time, and we'll see you next week in the championship race. And
thank you, Invets.
We'll see you
Jake.
Yeah, and don't do any SVG drifting as well. Okay, we've had his permission, of course. He's the drift master. Shane Van Gisbergen, obviously, we're talking about.
Yeah, I've had some beef. Anyway, besides that,
good, well done,
second
Eddie.
place.
Invets, I mean Eddie. Invets.
Yeah, Invets.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, thank you, Invets.
Advance.
Evans Eddie Smith got the win here tonight. Now we'll go to second place. Mr. Jake Ellison in the house gets it almost. Jake, I mean, baby, look, I mean, you pulled a hell of a strategy right there to try to run him down. You were close. I mean, the whole deal was, we was watching the whole deal back there, with Chance Taylor, or excuse me, Michael McCarthy and Tyler Justice. We was watching all that. We completely forgot about y'all's battle, but your take of the battle up there with Eddie Smith here this evening.
Oh man, Eddie said it perfect. I mean, it was a chess match on that second pit stop. I knew I was gonna stay up with him through that first pit stop, so I pitted with him, and then seeing how the tire wear was from the guys that pitted early on that first pit stop to the second, I decided to go just a little bit longer than what Eddie did, just to see if I could get that tire advantage at the end of the run. And I think I pushed it just a little too hard the first like 5 or 6 laps, and ended up cooking the right front more than I wanted to. But man, what a hell of a race. I feel like I won the damn race with Eddie. That's how much fun it was.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like it. I mean, and would you say, Jake, kind of a two-part question, I guess you could say, I mean, what are you looking forward to most at Homestead? And do you believe out of this championship 4, because we got it official right here with Eddie Smith, Jake Ellison, Chance Taylor, and Brandon Wallace, do you feel like that Eddie Smith is going to be your biggest competition come next week when we go to Homestead?
Hell no. I think Brandon Wallace is going to be my biggest competition. It's going to be a fuel strategy game next week, and Brandon Wallace is going to come out on top. I guarantee it.
Kind of shocked me right there. I wasn't expecting that one, but either that or he's just trying to get Brandon Wallace to say something out there in the live chat, which is a possibility. It's a very good possibility to try to get Brandon Wallace to try to chime up and say something, anything to try to throw anybody off. Jake Ellison comes home second here tonight, won last week, comes home second, riding the momentum when he needs to the championship race next week at Homestead. Jake, before we let you go, you got any sponsors, any shout-outs that you want to thank, sir?
I got to thank Lincoln Tech for sponsoring the fall series and putting their name on this number 27. Glad to get them another podium finish. It's been a great week for us. Hidden Wit Brewery, Cruising Classics, Nasty Restaurant and Bar, Veterans for Life Foundation, Veterans for Life Racing, Jam Printing and Promotions, Maconi Setup Shop, V-Speed, Indiana Department of Veterans Affairs, Alexander's PC, Sim Motion, Next Level Racing, iRacing, Above the Yellow Line, and I can't thank enough InVets for what they do in Indiana. They're putting together a fundraiser. We should support everything that they do. They identify veterans and help them get jobs, housing, and everything. So go out, support them. Let them know Goat Locker sent you. And then last but not least, I can't thank my beautiful daughters and my wonderful wife for allowing me to have the time to come out and have fun with you guys.
Ooh, Jacob. Yes, thank you very much, Jake. Jacob.
I really was.
Hey, it takes a bit to keep Jake quiet, but that's Jacob. That is Jacob Breves. I'm all confused in the moment here. But
Jake Ellison gets second here to that, buddy. Appreciate your time, Jake.
No problem. Thank you guys for broadcasting. You guys do a great job.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you. Now we'll go to the third place finisher was Eddie Kurtz. And Eddie, where have you been? I ain't seen you in a couple of weeks. At least my opinion. I mean, I ain't seen you in a couple of weeks, but come on third here tonight. Didn't qualify. Started at the back. Finished up here on the podium. Tell us about your race.
Yeah, man. Yeah, definitely wish I could have raced a little bit more this season, but yeah, still had a blast tonight. Missed qualifying, but started in the back. Had a lot of fun racing with everyone through the field. Went green, which is awesome to see. But yeah, definitely. Probably could have used a caution just to get caught up with the leaders, but I don't think I had anything for them on a long run. So had a really good seat for an awesome finish the last couple laps between Eddie and Jake.
And I mean, I'm going to throw a little bit of, just because both of them's in here, I'm going to go ahead and do it. Now, you won the championship last season. Who's you pick between Eddie Smith and Jake Ellison. Granted, you and Jake, y'all have had, y'all's battles and everything else that y'all had last season because you had to fight Jake off for the championship last season, and you had to fight him off a couple times this season, kind of his nemesis, if you will. Who's you pick between Eddie Smith and Jake Ellison? Just because both of them's in the broadcast booth, I got to get this.
Yeah, no, valid question. I'm gonna say Jake just because I feel so bad about beating him so much last year. So I hope he gets this one.
My gosh. Well, Eddie, buddy, good to see you up here at the podium, buddy. Great to talk to you once again. And before we let you go, thank your sponsors and any shout outs for making it possible here this evening.
Yeah, man. I appreciate you guys putting on an awesome show for us. I want to thank Lincoln Tech, Hidden Whip Brewery, Cruising Classics, Nasty's Restaurant and Bar, Veterans for Life Foundation, Veterans for Life Racing, InVets, Jam Printing and Promotions, McConey Setup Shop, V-Speed, Nazar 360, Indiana Department of Veteran Affairs, Alexander PCs, SimMotion, Next Level Racing, iRacing, and Above the Yellow Line.
Andy Kurtz gets it done from 18th to 3rd. One of the biggest movers, if not the biggest mover in the field here this evening. Andy, appreciate your time. Hopefully we'll see you at Homestead next week, buddy.
Thanks, man. Yep, hope so.
That was Andy Kurtz, comes home 3rd. Top 3 guys finish in the pro division. Now we'll go to your amateur winner, who is going to be racing for a championship next week. I got to say, a little controversial move right there with him and Tyler Justice. It's Michael McCarthy, who's been the win leader, I guess you could say, with the amateur division. McCarthy, I got to ask you, buddy, your take on the whole deal right there with you and Tyler Justice right there. What's your take on that, sir?
Yeah, so, I think we both just put it in there, and I had a couple good runs. And then we both kind of just put our foot to the floor and decided neither one of us are going to lift. And then that's the result is the result, right? So he's leaning. I was on his outside, one of the last runs I had before that, and he was kind of leaning on my door. So, if we're not going to lift, we're not going to lift. And that's just going to be what it's going to be. We're racing for a championship here, right? So it's, it's not like it's just a regular season race.
And, I'll put 2 questions right here for this second one right here. The second question, this is 2-part. One, this is going to be crazy to ask, but do you expect possible beef, I guess you could say, from Tyler Justice possibly next week? Because both of you are going to be racing for a championship next week, because we got the standings live, and we'll share them with the viewers here in just a little bit. But do you expect possible beef at Homestead? And, and that's one question. And the second part of it is, tell us about your season, because, dude, you have literally, like I said, 3 wins, now 4 wins, if I'm keeping track right, my redneck math, on the season. It's been one hell of a season for you.
Yeah, the season's pretty good. I wish I didn't miss the first 3 races. They have 4 wins. I did 3 in a row. Kind of had a dry spell there in the middle. Kind of came alive the last couple of races. I feel like I could have definitely won the race last week in Atlanta had things not played out the way they played out, so that would have been good momentum moving forward. But I like my chances next week. And then I don't think there'd be any beef with Tyler Justice. We always race each other really clean throughout the season. The aggression level between him and I in the playoffs has definitely turned up, I'll tell you that. But I'd say him and myself are probably the favorites to win the amateur division for sure. So I guess you could say the aggression is expected a little bit, but we'll see where it goes.
We'll see what happens. The number 3, Michael McCarthy, 4 wins for the amateur division. Started 6th. He ends up finishing with the top 5. Gets it done here tonight. Michael, before we let you go, buddy, you got any sponsors, any shout outs that you want to thank, sir?
Yeah, we thank Lincoln Tech for, sponsoring the whole deal here. Hidden Whip Brewery, Cruising Classics, Nasty's Restaurant Bar, Veterans for Life Foundation, Veteran for Life Racing, InVets, Jam Printing and Promotions, McConey Setup Shop, V-Speed, Nazar 360, Indian Department of Veterans Affairs, Alexander PC, SimMotion, Next Level Racing, and all you guys do over there in the booth. I hope you fall over from all those InVets there, Jake.
Yes, sir. We will absolutely do that, Michael. We'll figure it out. I'm trying to keep up with the shots as much as I possibly can right here, Michael. But appreciate your time. And we'll see you at Homestead next week, baby. You're running for a championship. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir. Have a good night.
That was Michael McCarthy comes home with the amateur division championship. Dean, the greatest set, baby. We got the final four, and we'll go ahead and read them off for you right here. Eddie Smith will be running for a championship next week. This is for the pro division. Eddie Smith, Jake Ellenson, Chance Taylor, Brandon Wallace will be running for a championship. For that amateur division, Rusty Rafferty, Tyler Justice, Michael McCarthy, and Chuck Phelps is able to beat out Jeremiah Holt and James Kaufman. Chuck Phelps, the Marine Man, will be running for a championship next week at Homestead. Dean, oh boy, I'm fired up, baby. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go to South Florida.
Oh, right. You ready to go to South Florida? But what about Atlanta? That's coming up too, my friend. It's an Atlanta Christmas. And that's, of course, on the Monday night. Oh, the snow's coming there, Jacob. Will it be snowing on track at Atlanta in December the 23rd?
Yeah, you see the snow right there. Obviously, we don't want none of that in real life because it affects the redneck announcer and possibly being able to call races. So hopefully we do not run into that really. But anyway, I mean, great race tonight. I mean, literally, it went flag to flag, green flag to checkered flag. There's going to be beef, and we'll talk about it on the door banging download as well. There will be some controversy from the whole deal with Michael McCarthy, Tyler Justice. You heard Michael McCarthy's take. We ain't got the Tyler Justice yet. I think he actually left the session, so we can't really get his take. And probably, I don't know if we really want to because there's odds are we would probably get canceled. But great show. You see the snow. Dean's just trying to throw it in my face at this point with the snow on the broadcast. But, folks, great race here tonight. Goat Locker always puts on a hell of a show, and it's going to be a good one next week at Homestead. You don't want to miss it. Want to make sure that we thank each and every one of the sponsors here with this great league: Lincoln Tech, Hemwit Brewery Company, Cruising Classics, Nasty's Restaurant and Bar, Veterans for Life Foundation for the sponsorship for this great, great series that you see here on Thursday nights. Veterans for Life Racing. Invets. Got to go ahead and get 3 shots off of that one. Jam Prager Promotions for the Pole Award winner, McConey Setup Shop, V-Speed, and right here, live with the Nazareth 360 Racing Network. Also, Indiana Department of Affairs, Alexander PC, Sim Motion, Next Level Racing, Above the Yellow Line, and also iRacing, because if it wasn't for iRacing, we wouldn't be able to do any of this. Once again, real quick, make sure if you haven't yet, go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Make sure you check out the door banging download. You'll get my unfiltered take of this race here this evening. Thanks to the drivers and thanks to each and every one of you, the fans, for coming out each and every night supporting your favorite drivers. And just appreciate each and every one of you. And shout out to Brady the Buff, Cody Knight, for allowing us to be ourselves. 4 nights a week, some of them even 5 nights a week at this point. For Australia, indeed, Hopton Bengals, and also for me, the Redneck Announcer, Jake Reeves. I'm used to Steven being up here. I'm the Redneck Announcer, Jake Reeves, said, as I always say, be safe, be kind, be fast. Folks, it's come down to this. Next week, Homestead, where it needs to be for the championship. 2 divisions, 8 drivers. 1 driver's going to come home with a championship in the pro division and the amateur division. You want to find out who it's going to be? Make sure you are here next Thursday night for the Veterans for Life ARCA Series. Be at Homestead. We're going championship racing next week, folks. You don't want to miss it. 8 p.m. Eastern Time, live and only on the Nazareth 360 Racing Network. We'll see you there.